welcome back to Speed Freak Garage, home of power sports on YouTube. So we have to remove the hood cowl from our hood and somehow save the hood. And then if we can save the hood, we're going to install these race louvers. So we spent quite a while talking to Al, the owner of Race Louvers, who helped us find a set of louvers that would fit not only the hood, but could be adjusted or modified to fit the LS engine that is right under the hood. So we've got a full set of louvers. So big thanks to Al for going back and forth with me and helping me get this figured out. So the real challenge today is trying to save this factory hood, because if we can't, it's going to be a major financial loss to have to buy a new hood. There's three main reasons why we're removing the hood cowl. The first reason is that the ARA, the Rally Association, was kind enough to ban hood cowls in 2023. So I'm very grateful for that. One thing I forgot to mention is the new ARA rules do not allow anything sticking up out of the factory bodywork more than 15 millimeters. So you need to make sure if you're in the ARA and you get louvers that you get the street trim version of the louvers that have the smaller lips coming through the top. So be careful with that, because the rule changes just keep coming and they just keep getting worse. Number two is the cowl was not allowing enough air through the hood to allow the engine to cool and the radiator to breathe. So even if we cut every bit of hood out from under the cowl, then the hood won't be stiff enough. So we kind of hit our limit there. And then number three is visibility. So I can see fine, and we did fine in the race and we did fine in traffic. However, it does slightly reduce visibility when you're looking across to the right side of the car, the passenger side. So we are going to pull the cowl. We're going to do our best to save it so I can either hang it up. I might hang it right there actually and put like a picture frame of me and Brandon with the car, or I don't know yet, or I might try to sell it. I don't think anybody would buy it though, so probably just going to hang it up as a trophy from last year. So what I did is I sharpened a 3/8 drill bit, nice and freshly sharp. I got a high power, high speed brushless drill, because drilling out rivets sucks. So now what I'm going to start drilling them out. The video is going to be fast forwarded because you don't need to watch me drill out 20 something rivets. But after that, then we're going to go back to the hood louvers. There's a whole installation booklet included, so we'll go through that and talk about how we're going to try and save this hood. So anyway, fast forward time. Okay, that went way better than I expected. It is amazing what you can do when you actually, so I took time this morning to prepare the correct tool, which was a freshly sharpened drill bit. So that's the best rivet drilling I've ever done in my life, simply because I have a decent drill bit. So we're gonna pull this off. Oh yeah. So basically, normally you would want this whole thing cut out. However, the hood actually, or the engine bay ends right here, and then there's a support member here. So we can't just cut all the way out, because this whole hood would just basically be useless. So yeah, this is gonna suck. All right, so we got it cleaned up as good as we can for now. There's still 2 rivets stuck in there. I don't know how I'm gonna get those out. So we're gonna go ahead and get started with the race louvers. So there are some very detailed instructions. However, our car has already been taken apart. It's LS swapped, so it's not exactly the same as a normal car. There's a lot of instructions here, and essentially what we're looking at is there's a sweet spot that they describe here in the manual. So you want to be a certain number of distance from the windshield, minimum, and then you want to be 2 to 4 inch behind the back of the radiator. So the problem is the hood's already off the car, and we don't even know what radiator we're putting in it yet. Just take a quick measurement. I literally just put this. Should have read the instructions first. Okay, so the radiator, the thickest possible radiator we can fit in this thing is going to be sitting right here. So the hood obviously touches here, so we have 3 inches from the front of the hood to the first or the thickest possible radiator that we can install. So I'm just gonna cover this back up to keep it clean. And then it says 2 to 4 inches back from that. Okay. Wants us to use masking tape. I'm just gonna use green so we can see it. And obviously this is gonna be a little bit of a struggle with the hood all torn up. So we're gonna go, well, it's from here, so 3, 4, 5 inches. So we're looking at, and see the problem is the engine is touching like right in here. It's touching the hood. So this is definitely gonna be an interesting experiment. And we're gonna remeasure all this, of course, later to make sure it's all square and it won't look wonky. But so that's basically our first step here is the louver needs to start here because the radiator is going to be here, so your airflow is going to be coming up and out. Now, as far as how far back the louver can go, again, because the engine's in our way, 20 to 24 inch. So, and that's for the center. So we have plenty of space. So we're gonna be safe here and just mark the 24. So actually that kind of restricts us. As if anything, I mean, the throttle body's like here and it's hitting the hood, and then the intake's here and hitting the hood. This is gonna be a mess. So basically that's our window for the center louver, and then wherever the center louver goes, we can then just line up the side louvers. So, and I do not have scissors out here. I'm just gonna lay these down on the hood for a second. Now, did it say the edge or the opening? Locate the louver template in the front 2 to 4 inch behind the back. Well, I only did 2, so I'm just gonna do that. So if the louver is gonna go here, it's definitely gonna hit my throttle body, so I'll have to cut out notches in some of these fins to clear the throttle body. And then here, I don't know what I'm gonna do here, where I'll have to redesign the intake, I guess. So, I mean, we're kind of limited. I mean, if you look at this, really, we are like required by the wind tunnel testing that Race Louvers did to put this here. There's nowhere else for it but right there. And that's fine, we'll deal with it. So then we come with our sides, and the sides you just basically want to line up. And I think I got that right. That looks right to me. I don't think they're not marked left or right, because if you did that, obviously that isn't gonna work. So I think this is the way they're supposed to look. So we have the louver set up. Now here's the thing. So the side louvers, not only do they allow more air to evacuate, but you want them to be excuse me, sorry. I've been recovering from a cold for like over a month now. You want as much air coming through the front and away from your radiator as possible. So the radiator is pretty narrow, so we really want to bump these, and I mean ideally you would have them running along this body line here. However, if I bump them to like basically almost touching, you don't want them to touch, but pretty close, something like that maybe. So then we have a nice large cutout grouping for the louvers to evacuate air. The problem is we've got this giant hole here I don't know what to do with yet. I might have to just rivet in a plate to cover it, and then maybe I could make a little bulge in the plate for my intake. And then for these two holes back here, I'll have to do the same thing. I'm gonna have to rivet a plate, and I can just use these existing rivet holes to make a plate that will cover this. The problem is I'll have to cut out a shape for these, so it's not gonna be fun, not at all. So anyway, this is where the louvers need to go. I think that looks fine to me. And it looks similar to the pictures that they have with the really aggressive louvers on the car they tested in the wind tunnel. So I'm okay with that. Now I need to cut these patterns out. So basically it says to cut out the templates and then using a marker to mark the inside perimeter cut line of the template onto the hood. And then, you know, we just cut the hood. Okay, so one thing to note, at least for mine, there's two identical templates for the long one. I think you just flip it, you know. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna go ahead and try to cut these out. I'm just gonna fast forward this process because this could take a while. So because my hood's already cut, this is going to make installing these just substantially more difficult. It's gonna be a problem. It'll get us close. Get us race car close. Okay. If I stand back, then that looks pretty decent. Now, not even close to being done though, so we need this This is a mess. This is so much harder than it needs to be simply because we already 54, so I want 27. Okay. All right. I guess I should, before I start cutting, go grab the vent and make sure I've got everything the way it... Oh, there's rivet holes in the center. That definitely is not going to happen. All right. Man, that is a close fit. That's a close fit. So I see why now. They said to cut outside the line, and I see why. And they do have the rivet holes on the edges, so if you do overcut a little, it's not gonna really hurt anything. So this looks like I got it matched up pretty well. So I'm happy with that. Now, a mistake, it would be a big mistake to come back to cut this, to just do this one and then do these later. The smart thing to do would be to do them both at the same time, or all three at the same time. All right, stand up and look back. That looks pretty good to me. I want to get a picture of this, so I'm going to pause the video. Okay, so I almost forgot to draw the... Okay, so now we need to remove all the paper and tape, well, except the tape that I drew over, but we need to remove everything out of our way so we can pop our corner holes. All right, now we need to do one last sanity check before we make the last permanent alteration to the hood. All right, so it's about as lined up as we can get it. That looks good to me. I think we're gonna go ahead and start cutting. Might have to come back with, you know, an angle grinder or something and clean up spots that are don't fit. But for now, I think we're good to go. The Race Luber's instructions say to drill your corner holes first, and I totally agree with that. Luckily, we got a nice fresh drill bit to do that with. Okay, we've got our cheap Walmart jigsaw because I can't find my good plug-in one. I've got an 18 TPI metal cutting blade. Hopefully it's going to do the job and the whole job before it dies, because the other two metal cutting blades I have are 14 TPI, which really isn't enough teeth for a super thin structure like this. The first thing we're going to do is cut the center, which is the weakest portion, and then we'll cut the outer edges. So hopefully this behaves and doesn't jump all over the place. Okay, this is where we're going to stop for today because unfortunately I need to design block off plates for the front piece that's messed up and for the rear section that's messed up, and then I need to get it cut out and set, and then the whole thing is either needs to be repainted or vinyl wrapped, or I don't know yet. It's a mess, but we got the louvers set where we want them, but I need a friend to, because they're flexible, so I need a friend to hold them in place while I mark all the holes to drill holes. I can't do that on my own. So that's it for today. Thank you guys for watching, and we will see you next time.
Try not to hold me down, feel alive when I'm in this town. Look at those beautiful stars, I wanna drive a faster car, nothing can